and we're going to do a bit more ink blending through a mask today. Did one last week and everyone liked that, so I thought we'll do something something a little different using that technique, and this is what I've come up with. So we're switching out the one I did last week. It had those kind of leaf style images on there. It's a pack of 4 that you get in the catalogue. So this was the one I used last week with the that sort of stylized leaf kind of design. You also get this more overall pattern, and there's also like tree trunks and things like that, and then this dotty pattern as well. So the dots are obviously very versatile. They can suit a number of different card types. So I'm just going to replicate what I've done with my sample. The stamp set for the sentiment is the So Sentimental stamp set. Really great set. I love the coordinating dies with this. The stitched sentiments labels, so that they're really cool. Stitched so sweetly, they're called. So that's what we're doing today. Okie dokie. So if you did catch my video using the masks last week, you saw that I used some of my small Stampin' Up! Grid paper to protect my surface. I've just put a little snippet of seal on the back, just at the top, just to keep that cardstock from wibbling around too much. And then I'm going to lay the mask over the top and secure it with some tissue tape. I like to have it reasonably even across the card, but of course if you want a bit more of a random look, you can position that mask however you like, but I like to go with keeping things reasonably straight. Sorry about the glare of my lights, but necessary evil, I'm afraid. You won't be able to see anything at all if I don't put the lights on. The colour combination is Blushing Bride, Rich Raspberry and Blackberry Bliss. And like before, I'm going to use a blending brush to apply the ink. Okay, and I'm going to start, I'm going to do lightest to darkest. Now on the sample card I worked lightest in the middle downwards. We could mix it up, and I think we might go light to dark. I'm just going to have a bit of scrap paper to hand to hold down the cardstock and not get myself all inky. So I've rubbed some ink onto this blending brush, and we'll just ink over this portion with the Blushing Bride. That's possibly a little darker than it would be. There's possibly a little bit of residual ink on my brush, but it doesn't matter. If that isn't your cup of tea, then just give your brush a rinse under the tap and get that excess ink out so that you get the colour you want. Switch to Rich Raspberry. So just letting that fade out towards the bottom. Overlapping the Blushing Bride section just slightly. And then we will take Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to twizzle that round now and work from the bottom. So the darkest colour is at the bottom. Really nice. Well, it's called blackberry, but I would call it like a plum colour. So again, just overlapping the previous colour, the Rich Raz, underneath there, just to tone it in. Okay. so that's what we've got so far. I'm just going to keep that up on the side. Lift the mask up, and pinning it down like that means that I can replace the mask and go over it again if I wanted to. I'm actually really happy with how that has turned out. You can definitely see the gradient of the dots, so I'm going to remove that. That will just wash off under the tap, no problem there. So I'm not going to put any extra ink on my brush, but what I'm now going to do is go over the background with that residual ink. Okay, so on my samples last week I just left the background white and let the colour speak. So I'm just going to work back through the colours. So most of the ink has come off the Blackberry Bliss, and I'm literally taking off most of the ink on this scrap paper for the Rich Raspberry and working that across. So that almost disappears. And then we'll go back in with Brushing Bride again, just a little bit of ink on the brush. We'll twizzle it round, take off the excess and rub that in from the top. Okay, now you can work that more if you would like. It's not I would say a very smooth blend necessarily, but I'm not really going for that kind of look. So that little tiny piece of seal was enough just to keep it in place while I did that, but comes off nice and easily. Okay, so that's what we've ended up with, and that background ink really, you can really see it now after put it onto the plain surface. Okay, so this is going to go onto a plain white card base, which I've already pre-cut. This is A4 cardstock that's been cut lengthways at 4 1/8 of an inch and scored at 5 7/8 of an inch. And that panel's just going to go on with some Stampin' Seal, so we'll just get that on there. I suppose you could decide now whether you want it light to dark or dark to light, whatever your preference. I decided not to add another layer of cardstock. I made it just go straight onto the white. I think that's straight enough. It's a little fluffy bit there. I'm going to try and get off. There we are, that's it. Got it. Okay, card base all done. Decoration is really simple. I've taken the Healing Hugs stamp and I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss ink to stamp that. You see this is the piece that I've used for my sample. Just light tapping on the ink pad just to make sure it's good and coated, and we'll press that down, straight down onto the cardstock, hold it for a couple of seconds and lift off, and you'll get a perfect image every time. And we're going to use the 2-inch circle punch to cut that from the cardstock. So by looking through the back you can see whether it is centered or not, and we can just crunch that out, and that's about done. Just going to put a little bit of dimensional adhesive on the back of there, ready to go. And the other thing we want is 3 flowers. This is the small bloom punch that carried over from Celebration, which was very exciting. So we want 3 of these little flowers. Odd numbers always looks best. Very nice and easy to use. I love that punch. It's very, very versatile. Now I like to give my little flowers some shape, so I use a foam mat. I have no idea where this foam mat came from. It seems to have ended up in my craft room, and I don't actually know where I got it from. But it's absolutely perfect for this. It's not too firm and not too soft. God, goodness knows where I got it from. Okay. So by rolling a large ball tool over the back, it gives this cupped kind of look to the cupped shape. So let's position our sentiment on there. So, you know, whirled your lobster here, you could put it centrally if you want to. Shall we do that just to mix up the give you some different ideas, see how the different things look. And I'm going to use wet glue to add just a bead of the adhesive to the back of those guys, and then those will, because it stands so proud, it will just catch on the edge there, no problem whatsoever. And this glue dries relatively quickly, really, but it's very, very strong. Once these guys set and are in place, that they're not going to budge. They're going to be really, really great, and that dimension really gives them some life as well. And then just to finish off, the clear rhinestones, I've actually taken a dark Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Blend marker, and I've used the brush end just to add some colour to this to tie it in with the rest of the card. Depending on how intense you want the colour, you may want to do a couple of coats, let it dry, adds a bit more. And I find dabbing is better than brushing over it. It almost wipes itself off again, if you know what I mean. And we're just going to use the take the pick tool, or take your pick tool, to add those to the centre of these little flowers. And that just really ties it in from a colour point of view. Makes it all look like it fits together. And there we have it. Really, really simple to do. And like I say, you could use any of the masks to use any mask, any colour, and you will get different cards every time. Play about with the layers as well. So I've used, I think this was 3.5 by 5.25 that went onto these cards, but it could be smaller, it could be a square in the middle. Lots of different options that we could do with the same theme. Again, the blending, light out to dark, and then this one was more of a gradient, going light to dark down the card. So have a little play with it. There's lots and different ways you could do this. And I wanted something nice and quick and easy to show you today. Hope you like it. As always, click down in the description bar, click that little arrow to expand all the doobly-doo, and the other, but they'll be there. Is a link to a blog post which has more photos. Some quick shop links are in there too, and also details on how you can join my team. Your Stampin' Up products at a discount. All good. All good. Thank you for joining me again today. Do take care and enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.